Understanding Schools, School Governance Post-Pandemic.
The U.S. pre-K-12 public education system is a massive institution and infrastructure. Across the country, tens of thousands of schools manage the daily instruction, transportation, and feeding of millions of pre-K-12 students. Historically, local school boards and administrative bodies focused on the logistical and administrative requirements of their districts, prioritizing operations like staffing and facilities management. Currently, public schools sit at the center of intense national political divides, reflecting a significant shift in how these systems are governed. The logistical discussions of the pandemic era served as a catalyst, quickly transitioning into broader ideological and systemic debates. This environment is shaped by ongoing debates regarding the structural forms of school governance and which specific stakeholders hold ultimate control over the system. Managing a school district has evolved into an exercise in navigating the friction of a polarized federalist system, where local decisions are frequently tied to national political priorities. This pressure often begins at the top of the governing hierarchy. Federal policymakers are pushing competing agendas downwards, creating a volatile environment for the states and their local districts. The Democratic platform focuses on enforcing civil rights, citing a backlog of discrimination complaints. They oppose school choice policies, arguing they cause segregation. Conversely, Republicans emphasize decentralization, expanding school savings accounts for private options, and dismantling the Department of Education to increase local authority. These diametrically opposed federal visions create a contradictory compliance landscape for local school systems caught in the middle. This national divide is increasingly evident in the push to expand school choice, charter schools, and private school vouchers at the state level. As this flowchart illustrates, public school advocates argue that these vouchers drain essential funding away from the K-12 public systems that the majority of students rely on. Beyond funding, significant disagreements exist between local boards, legislative members, and federal departments regarding instructional content. Much of this friction centers on instruction grounded in critical theory and American history curriculum, with a focus on slavery, the civil rights movement, and race in general. This has led to organized and frequent opposition to diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives within school districts. Governance is also stalled by administrative disputes over policies regarding DEI, transgender students, pronoun usage, and classroom discussions on gender and sexual orientation. Additionally, there are coordinated efforts to restrict student access to specific library books and materials, particularly those addressing LGBTQ+ themes or racial injustices. Higher-level governments have increasingly used public funding as leverage, attempting to withhold money from districts that do not align with partisan civil rights interpretations or state-level DEI bans. This systemic tension is most visible at the local level during school board meetings. Traditionally, these local school boards typically functioned as nonpartisan administrative bodies. Today, they are often highly active and volatile political environments. National research, as shown in this graph, indicates that disruptions, harassment, and protests at these meetings remain significantly higher than pre-pandemic levels. This volatility manifests in local elections that are increasingly characterized by high stakes and nationalized rhetoric. The most pronounced conflicts typically occur in politically mixed districts where different ideologies clash directly. In these races, outside political action committees often introduce national talking points and significant financial resources, shifting the focus away from more traditional local issues. This involvement suggests that local community voices are increasingly influenced by a broader national political machinery. State governors and local boards are facing the pressing reality of declining academic performance and dropping test scores that contribute to the calls for restructuring of the system and greater parental control. Navigating this charged political climate is taking a heavy toll on the people within the system. The situation is compounded by residual post-pandemic stress that continues to affect the daily school environment. In some communities, teachers and their unions have come under fire from conservative groups who see schools as breeding grounds for left-leaning ideology. Teachers and administrators report feeling demoralized due to constant scrutiny and intense parental micromanagement. The politicization of the classroom contributes to severe operational vulnerability, as school boards find it difficult to fulfill their primary mandate to keep schools operational. Compensation issues and difficult working conditions hinder the recruitment and retention of qualified teachers and essential support staff. Districts across the country report severe shortages of bus drivers and other personnel. Ultimately, ideological victories mean very little if a district cannot physically staff its classrooms or operate its transportation system. Amidst the noise of the culture wars, the core mission of the education system is struggling for purpose. There is currently a structural effort to update how foundational skills are taught to address these declines. This includes the implementation of the evidence-based science of reading methodology, a transition that requires significant training and resources to execute. These vital academic shifts require massive amounts of time, administrative attention, and funding to succeed. However, these requirements must constantly compete for resources that are often drained by broader political disagreements. Local leaders, educators, and parents face difficult challenges as they try to prioritize academic recovery in a politically charged environment. The systemic friction generated by political polarization serves as a major distraction from the primary mission of educating.
Thank you for watching, and we look forward to having you join in our discussions.